Sherdog here in Dublin, Ireland, sitting with James McSweeney ahead of KSW 40, where he's fighting Mariusz Pudzianowski in the main event. James, how does it feel to be back?
It's beautiful to come back. I mean, I've only been back to Ireland to visit family, and I haven't been here for a very long time. So it's beautiful to come back, and I've got a lot of family come up from Dublin to support me. A lot coming over from England also, and no, it's going to be a fun night.
How does it feel to be back in fight week now?
This is what I live for. This is what I live for. This is the one time when I can just, I don't have to be the father, the husband, the businessman. I don't have to be all these other, I have to be polite to everybody. I have to be all nice and tolerate people. This is 1 week where I can just be the real true side of me that I can be. And that's a side that I can produce on Sunday that's definitely a huge part of my personality.
So you retired 14 months ago. Walk us through the past 14 months for you, through retirement, the reason why you retired, and like why you're coming back, when you thought about coming back, and just the general upswing for you there.
Well, it's been a huge roller coaster, to be honest. I mean, I never really contemplated retirement before I retired. It was just, I could feel maybe for the past year or two prior to that just my body was just hurting more. Like I would be aching more. If I got an injury just before it, like in a couple of days, it'd be gone. Whereas this time it was taking a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. It wasn't going. Like my body was just, I wasn't sleeping very well. I was having all kinds, and it was just the smallest little thing. It seemed like my immune system was low and stuff like that. We just wasn't feeling great about it, and wasn't getting the results in the gym. Whereas before I could train hard in the morning, I could train hard in the afternoon, I could spar the next day 10 rounds and I would still feel 100%. It wasn't like that. I was like, fuck, I don't even want to go training tonight. Shit, I'm tired. And I never had that before. So it was constantly just creeping its way in. And then after I retired, of course, like I said, this is not a sport where you can say, well, I'm going to take a break for a little bit. It's not that kind of job. You can't just take time off. At the time when I retired, I believed I was retired. I thought too much of the sport to do it injustice, where the fans come and pay their money to watch me fight in a main event and I'm not performing to the best of my ability. And I felt like that's injustice. That's not fair. And it's not fair to me either, or my opponent. So, I decided, an emotional roller coaster, I decided to retire. And then during that time, I took time off. I got some things in my life. I got business to set up. I set up in a new country. I put my daughter through school, and all these new things started to come into place. And I could really start to but the feelings started to come back, like the competition feelings. I tried to hide it and train other people. And no, I'm cool. I can handle it, but I couldn't. I really couldn't handle it. I really wanted to fight. And then, of course, I thought, you know what, I'm just going to go, no one will know, but I'm going to take some tests and do some things on my own, get a physical, get my blood work checked, and it will come back good. And so I started to test myself, training hard, twice a day, as if I was going through like a miniature camp without a fight, just to see how my body would perform and feel. And it felt great. And then, fast forward 12 months of that, I've been training hard for a long time, and I saw that this was coming up in Dublin, and I thought, well, I've never fought in my home country before. This is a perfect opportunity to come back and fight, and I saw they put up Mariusz looking for a heavyweight, so I called for the fight. I called him directly and said, I want to take that fight.
So was MMA your main focus coming back, or did you consider K1 or kickboxing?
No, I retired from K1 a long time ago, and to be honest, I'll never say I will never go back, because I always love kickboxing, and I think that it's always a good door, especially right now the platform is wide open with Glory. I think they're looking for good heavyweights, and the exchange over from MMA to K1 is very open, as we've seen from a lot of people just recently, like Bigfoot just fought Rico. So I think it's definitely an option for the future, but my main hunger right now, I've been an MMA fighter now for the past 10 years, so I don't consider myself a K1 guy anymore. If I was going to fight K1 again, I have to just have a solid 4 or 5 months K1 training, because MMA, you can't, you're an MMA striker, you're not a K1 striker. That's the big difference. People think because they've done K1 before they can become an MMA fighter, or vice versa. There's a huge difference in the level, and there's a lot of learning curves on the way. That's why a lot of MMA fighters don't do well in K1, and a lot of K1 guys don't make the exchange over. If you look at it, it's only really the Dutch style of K1 or Thai boxing that's ever made it in MMA, or made that changeover successfully. A lot of people have tried from other countries that have trained from different areas, and it's never been successful.
You mentioned Bigfoot there. What did you think of his performance?
I thought he tried hard, but it was on the cards he was going to lose that fight.
So moving back to your fight now this weekend, you're fighting Mariusz Pudzianowski. How do you rate him as an opponent?
He's an opponent.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean, what more can you say? I mean, the guy's a big guy. He used to be strong. You know, I don't know. From what I see of him, I'm not overly impressed. Yeah, if he hits you with that overhand right, you know, you have a problem. But then again, if I hit you with my overhand right, you have a fucking problem. Any heavyweight hits you with a right hand, a left hand or any hand, you're gonna have a problem. So I don't see that. Does he have good knees? Does he have good elbows? Does he take you down well? Does he have black belt in jiu-jitsu? Is he an Olympic wrestler? Nothing to all of that. And to be honest, when I see him fight, I don't see him to be that strong. Because like I've seen like DC, for example, when he was heavyweight, picking heavyweights up over his head and dumping them on their head. And I think, wow, man, that guy's strong. When I see Brock Lesnar hit you with a shot and knock you 30 feet across the cage, I think, man, that guy's powerful. I don't see Mariusz fight like that. I've never seen him pick anyone up and dump them on their head or shoot so hard that he's done. I just see him do like a rugby tackle and just bear hug you and then they fall over or pin him against the cage. So I don't really see him maximise his strength. And when he does, he's gassed. So I've fought guys that are stronger than him, in my opinion, in MMA, not in the gym or pulling a friggin' bus. But in the gym, I think Olympic level wrestlers are far stronger than him. I've fought people and trained with people that I think are better heavyweight boxers than him, and Thai boxers, and better jiu-jitsu guys. So I'm not fearful of his techniques, you know.
So Mariusz, you beat the KSW heavyweight champ Marcin Rozalski, and Marcin Rozalski beat Mariusz Pudzianowski. Does that give you any confidence, or does it matter to you?
It doesn't really matter to me. I don't look into it too much, because in an MMA fight you could fight 10 times. It could be 5-5, it could be 9-1, and then it could all change the next week. It depends on the day, right? But I mean, the way, knowing when I fought Rozalski, how little intelligence he had on the floor when I took his back and choked him out, how little his defense was, and then to see him choke out Mariusz just goes to show how little he knows on the floor. So that stands for something, in my opinion. But just because he beat him doesn't mean automatically I should beat him. I'll beat Mariusz just because I'm a better fighter. That's why I'll beat him.
It's MMA maths. So just you touched on it there. You think Mariusz is really bad on the ground, then obviously.
He hasn't showed anything apart from a very box standard ground and pound. You know, he doesn't know how to really pass guard. He doesn't really know. I mean, you don't see him do any submissions of any kind of skill work. And if you watch his defense, he's just looking to ground and pound you any way he can. And then if that doesn't work, I mean, he needs an oxygen tank, right? I mean, geez, the guy's dead. So
would the game plan to be to take him to the ground or to stand?
The game plan is just to beat him. This is MMA. I mean, everyone gets caught up about this and that and all the rest of it. I have 20 game plans in mind. It just depends on what he does and which one I use. That's the part of using your experience. When you're a beginner fighter, you say, well, the game plan is take him down and submit him. That's your game plan, right? Because maybe you come from a jiu-jitsu background and you have no other good striking, good wrestling, or these other good standpoints. But I'm a black belt in jiu-jitsu. I'm a world champion striker. I wrestle with the Olympic level wrestling teams. I've done conditioning with the Olympic teams also. So I don't really have that one platform where I need to submit. If he gives me his neck, I'll put him to sleep. If he gives me his arm, I'll break it. If he puts his chin out, I'll knock him out. If he shows me his body, he's going to go down on the belly. I mean, if you watch any of my fights that I win, there's an array from rear naked chokes to arm bars to knockouts to jumping knees to head kicks. There's a whole array of knockouts because I'm an MMA fighter, a real one.
All right, cheers, James. Thanks very much.